What is the proper role of luck? It depends. Hi, I'm Nick. This is 10 Minutes with Nick. And yesterday I didn't post a podcast because I'm not a professional and I'm incredibly inconsistent. But I did have interesting conversations, and those interesting conversations will lead us to some future podcasts on their winding way around. And today's question, or rather the thought that occurred yesterday, and that I'm following up on today. What is the role of luck? What is it? And why is this an important question to ask? Because a lot of people either recognize this or don't quite recognize this. A significant amount of the things we do on a day-to-day basis are more influenced by luck than we would like to believe. For example, you woke up today. Now, granted, the odds of you waking up today, if you are a relatively healthy person, they were high. They were odds. They were, 99.999999999 to the remainder, but odds nonetheless. Well, how did this conversation come up specifically? Well, my brother and I were talking about, as people from Buffalo often do, the Buffalo Bills. And we were talking about the interesting anomaly that came up in the statistics at the end of the year, that the Kansas City Chiefs were the beneficiaries of a strange amount of luck. Lucky plays include those plays that the athletes on the field don't really affect. Say the way a ball bounces when it hits the ground after it gets punched out. It pops up in the air and bounces around on the ground, or it deflects off somebody. The players don't control that. They don't really know which way it's going to go. They can't control that. They can be ready, but they can't control that. The Kansas City Chiefs had an inordinate amount of those plays go their way. Luck really, in the course of a game, luck can only affect about 2 or 3 plays. But those 2 or 3 plays can be very significant. They can be a turnover. They could be a turnover that leads to a touchdown immediately or in the aftermath. And those 2 or 3 plays, for teams that are at the very, very top of the division or at the conference, they can mean the difference between a playoff win and a playoff exit. So it's interesting to talk about that. And we were talking about some of this stuff in the context of, for example, a Stephon Diggs long pass that Diggs had landed in his hands and he dropped. He'd want that one back. But those deep passes are called 50-50 balls. Why? Because the odds on connecting on a pass, call it 20 plus yards down the field, the odds of that connecting go down significantly. The quarterback has to have the right conditions to hit the right spot on the field. The receiver has to be in the right place. The receiver has to be able to track the ball, have enough separation from the defender, keep an eye on where the defender is to adjust to the ball. The ball has to not be affected by any kind of gust of wind that's flying around the stadium. A butterfly in Montreal can't flap its wings. That's why you call them a 50-50 ball. Now, Diggs and Allen have had a higher rate of success on those than others in the past, but it's still not a 90-1 ball. It's about, even in their case, still call it a 70-30 ball. He dropped it, and that's unfortunate because that was a play that could have changed the direction of the game. But again, it was one of those plays that was influenced by a lot of luck, more so than the skill of the players. The skill of the players put them in the right spots, and luck had a hand in how the ball came down. It landed here on his arm instead of directly here. He jumped and was just too high. He didn't time it just right. There was skill and luck involved in all of that. But they were in that position because they were prepared to get to that moment. It just didn't break their way that time. So how do you account? So what is the role of luck? Can we rely on it? Should the Bills have relied on it in those instances? No, they should have been in a better position than to rely on a 70-yard bomb to win the game. They could have done any number of things that leading up to that point that would have been a better solution than relying on that. Now, they relied on it because they have done so in the past and it's been successful, but it's not it's not a long-term strategy because it relies on luck. So then what is the proper role of luck? Writ large in our society, what does that mean for us? When we're talking about luck, we're talking about things that we cannot directly influence. I can influence the choice in my head to go to Tim Hortons. I can influence my choice to pull out the driveway and turn right. I can influence the choice to go 30 miles an hour. I can influence the choice to go 40 miles an hour. I can't influence things that are unknown. I can't influence whether or not a squirrel is going to dash out in front of me. I can't influence whether a kid is going to dash out in front of me. These are things I don't know and I have no control over, and that are largely down to a matter of luck and probability and odds and everything else. So what do? Well, the answer is, for most of life, we just have to observe luck. That's not a very helpful answer to you, but let me try and break it down a little bit. The observance of luck is really our role in life. We have to just recognize when something breaks our way or breaks against us. If something breaks against us, you just got to deal with it. But the people who are typically very successful in life, the people who quote unquote make their own luck, are more often than not just the people who are smart enough to look around and realize that things have broken their way and take advantage of it. And taking advantage of it here is not a pejorative. It just means that you look around, you recognize a situation, and you say, okay, let's go hard on this. If you're playing blackjack and you flip your cards down and you've got straight 20, that is a hand you go hard on. Things broke your way. If you're, another good example, let's say you're playing Texas Hold'em. You have no control over what cards you're dealt. You just don't. So you can't plan ahead for the cards. But you can plan that once you've got a great hand, the odds in your favor, you're going to play it and you're going to play it hard. Now, some people will play things cautiously. They'll get a little bit of good luck. They'll, take a little bit of a win. They'll pull it back. But the people who tend to win, who tend to have extreme wins, tend to be the types of people who aren't afraid of playing things when the luck is starting to go their way. And yes, I know what this sounds like. This sounds like I'm contradicting my gambling podcast from before. Ladies and gentlemen, please keep in mind the Texas Hold'em thing I'm talking about right now is just a metaphor and a representation for luck in our lives. Walking into a casino and gambling, I think, is a very poor investment. But if you're a business owner and you look around and you see that you've got a good product, a good team, and a good market, you've got a good hand. You can't control what's going to happen tomorrow. You can't control if all of a sudden the market is going to turn against products like yours. You can't control if one of the people on your team is, despite being in a good work environment, just going to decide to, don't want to do it anymore. What you can control is making the most of the hand you've got in this moment and going for it. What tends to happen is that when you do that and you're working off of a strong foundation, you've controlled the things you can control, and you've observed that good luck is in the small areas that you can't control. That's when you tend to see big successes. And you can build on those successes, because once you've gotten a success in a situation that was previously lucky, it becomes part of your foundation. Then you can take risks in other areas, and the cycle will repeat, hopefully. Sometimes bad luck breaks your way too. Plenty of people have had a lot of success, seen a lot of good luck, and then some people have seen good luck and seen it go away, seen it disappear overnight. It hurts, but that's the nature of our life. We deal with luck. You could also leave your house today, look around, say, what a beautiful morning, and a piece of an airplane could drop on you. The odds are not high, but the odds are there. Observe the luck around you, make the most of the luck that's in your corner. And for the rest of it, build a strong foundation, eat good food, be healthy. Don't do what I do and drink massive amounts of coffee, and you should be okay. That's the best I got. It was a ramble. Hope it helps. Don't gamble, but do observe luck. I'm Nick. This is 10 Minutes with Nick. Have a great day.